I am going to open a picture compare session between two JPEG images. I'll use this JPEG here against this JPEG here. You'll notice that the images are very similar except for their alignment in the view. To start the compare, I will select both images. Then I will drag and drop those onto the Beyond Compare home screen and release. That opens a picture compare session. Note that image 003 is on the right, image 004 is on the left. I went to swap those, so I will click the swap button, and in the compare view we have the left image, or number 3, the right image number 4. And this is the compare pane. There are 3 different ways to compare pictures, and beyond compare, we are currently looking at what is called the blend mode. There is also a tolerance mode and a range mode. While we are working in the blend mode, I am going to move the mouse around over top the image here, or the image here or here. And you'll notice these little thumbnails on the left side here. That give you an indication of the difference in the pixels depending on where you are. While we are in the blend mode here, I'm going to try to better align this image vertically and perhaps horizontally. Then I will select the compare pane, and then I will use the arrow keys on my keyboard to move the images into better alignment. Now that is pretty good vertically. I will zoom in right here in the middle, and I'll do that by holding down the Control key. And I am going to use this as my center position, and I'm going to continue aligning the images. I'm using the arrow keys, and I have them fairly accurate at this location. You can see that they're off to the side, and they re-off again to this side. That's to be expected. Let me zoom out again. Now, in blend mode here, I can see that in the left image, there is a person in the background here. In the right image, he is not there. This is the blended image here. I can change the blend amount here. Going to go all the way to the left. You can see the person clearly. I'll go all the way to the right. He's not there. Back to the middle. So you can use this back and forth to see what the differences are in the images. You can also toggle from one to the other using this toggle button here. Now I am going to scroll in at this location here. Looking at this background here, I will change the blend from the left to the right. And you can see that we've picked up some people in the background here. And we will go back to the left, and they are not there. If we go over here, there is an airplane passing in the background here. Back to the left, and he's not there. And we will zoom back out again. Now we have been working in blend mode, which blends the 2 images together. Let's go to tolerance mode. Let me zoom in here just a little bit. Now in tolerance mode, significant differences are shown in red, unimportant differences in blue, and things that are virtually the same are going to be in gray. We don't see much gray in these 2 images. I'll mention that when you're working in tolerance mode, this button called Minor is available. If you click it, notice how the display of the combined images has changed. In this mode, unimportant differences are ignored. If you hold the mouse over the button, that's what the pop-up says. So anything in gray is considered an unimportant difference. Obviously, red is pointing out where there is significant differences between the 2 images. If we jump over to range mode, differences are shown in yellow. Unimportant differences are in shades of darker gray or black. One thing the range mode helps with is you can see here the differences in the alignment of the photos. If we jump over to tolerance, the misalignment is not nearly as obvious. If we jump to blend mode, you can still see it, but I think range gives you the best differentiation. I'll point out that since we're zoomed in here, there are some scroll bars on the images that allow you to change their position. You can go up and down, and of course, left or right to change how things look. I'm going to initiate another picture compare. This time I'll use a different pair of images. Number 1 here is this image. Number 2 here is this image. They look almost identical. If I toggle back and forth, you can see that there's a slight rotation difference between them, but that's about all. This time to start the compare, I'll select both of these, drag and drop them into the Open Picture Compare. I'm going to drop them onto the compare pane and let go. That starts the next compare. Let me zoom out. I am going to point out that there's quite a bit of offset between the 2 images because we offset one image from the other in the previous compare, and we are using those same spaces. I'm going to select this and use my arrow keys to put things back together as best I can. And we'll zoom in and adjust the alignment of the images. That's pretty close. We'll zoom back out. These 2 images are very similar. Toggling back and forth between left and right gives me the best way to see the differences between these 2 images. The difference appears to be almost entirely due to rotation, except if you look back here, you'll see some activity in the background. If we go over to tolerance and vary the amount of tolerance involved, we'll see some areas of gray. That's basically where there is no differences between the images. If we jump over to range mode, we'll see a couple of areas of black. Black indicates areas of no difference. Yellow is differences between the two. You'll see yellow around the edges of the wings because of the rotation and a little bit in the background. So to wrap this up, there are 3 ways to do picture compares in Beyond Compare. You've got blend mode. You've got tolerance mode, which will determine what is a significant difference versus what is an unimportant difference. And then you have range mode, which tells you where there are differences or not. Since we are working with these very similar images, we'll go back to blend mode. I'm going to zoom in here and position the images so I can see this background. We'll toggle between the two, and you can see the differences, but they are very subtle, people moving in the background, and even a golf cart entering the scene. Let me zoom back out here. What we are going to do now is we'll do another compare, using a slightly different start this time. We'll go back to our images. We're going to grab this guy. This time we will drag and drop him onto one side of this compare and let go. So now we have this and that. They are quite different. We are currently in blend mode. We can change the blend amount and see the obvious differences there. Of more interest here is we will go to tolerance mode. We see quite a bit of difference here. Let me change the tolerance. You can see the differences another way. And if we go over to range mode, same drill here, we will zoom in. And you can clearly see that there are multiple images being blended together. We'll zoom back out and go back to blend mode. And that's how you can use picture compare in Beyond Compare.